X-Men. Get it!
Hey everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I'm the bad boy of X-Men podcasting, Zack Jenkins. And Adam, you know what?
What's going on, buddy?
Well, today,
yes,
me and my wife did go to a store called Costco. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of this Costco. Yes, you have a membership and you buy gallons of peanut butter at a time. It's a fascinating.
We didn't
place.
buy peanut butter. We did buy a substantial amount of extra virgin olive oil.
Have you ever seen? And I invite our listeners to search this on YouTube. But the grand opening of the first Costco in China, involving like a mass pandemonium Black Friday style bum rush for rotisserie chickens. It's an amazing piece of footage. I'm sorry, what did you get at Costco?
So we're about to check out, right?
Yeah.
My wife says she needs to use the restroom beforehand, so I am left alone in Costco.
Yes.
Terrible choices.
Mm.
I'm walking around and I see an office chair and I sit down in it.
Oh.
Adam, my world has changed.
Was it the X chair?
It's not, but I did immediately bring this office chair home and put it together in moments. And I tell you what, call me the maker, baby, because I am sitting in quite a cozy office chair.
Wow. Good for you. Making a spur of the moment purchase at Costco.
Let me tell you some facts about this Comfort Core seat construction. It's got polyfiber fill comfort top, overall comfort distribution foam layer, a softer front promoting circulation, and a firmer support in the back cushion. And wouldn't you know, the adjustable headrest has 4 locking positions.
Oh my goodness. This seems like ergonomic to the extreme. Now,
this is a manager chair.
Oh, it's like big boss chair. I like that.
It is only the best for our makers.
Does your chair come with either a power neutralizer or maybe a holographic skyscraper living room? Perhaps.
You know what? Those were right next to it, but I didn't get the lowest level chair to make. I did get like the medium tier. Like, this isn't an executive chair. I feel like the executive chairs have the neutralizers and the diarrhea transmorphers and whatnots, where the manager chairs just have it just has like an adjustable tension on your spring back.
Okay. Hey.
I recommend going to Costco and buying this chair. It was reasonably priced.
And folks, just to be clear, this chair is not sponsoring this episode. So this is just.
But it could if Lazy Boy gets over to us. Absolutely.
That'd be hilarious if we were an X-Men podcast and we were doing SpawnCon for Lazy Boy.
Lazy Boy, hit us up.
That's right.
I just did all that to do with the maker bit, and I feel like I got really into talking about the chair.
That's okay.
I've been having carpal tunnel things. I needed a good chair.
Yeah. No, I'm happy for you. You need that lumbar support. You know what I mean? And,
dude, the lumbar support is what sold me on it. Not a joke. This is how you know I have evolved into my 30s over the course of this podcast.
Well, hopefully our listeners are getting the lumbar support that they need, because this week we are talking about Forge. And
Forge!
Did you see that? So we mentioned at the end of last episode that when Zack did that, it was a reference to Luke Hare's Exiled podcast. Did you notice that when I made the announcement on Twitter that we were doing this episode, that Luke Hare got upset?
No, because I don't use Twitter, but I will shoot Luke a note right now and be like, I didn't see it, but I heard you tweeted about this.
Yes,
I'm going to send him that.
He said he was insulted, and I said, well, I don't think he heard the end of last episode. So we are talking about Forge this week, and that includes his first appearance, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes here. But Zack, who do we have to thank for talking about everyone's favorite inventor of the X-Men?
Oh, that's that right there. That's a great question, Adam. And thank you for bringing it up. We have Patreon supporter Robert to thank for this. If you want to be like Robert, you can go over to patreon.com/comicsxf, reach deep down into your hearts and your pocketbooks, and toss a couple of coins into our coffers. We'll do an episode. I mean, that's the thing. Look.
And I was excited to do this one because it spans a bunch of different time frames in the X-Men's history, and Forge is a fascinating character.
I think there are a lot of layers to Forge, and Forge has the potential to be a fascinating character. I don't fully think that he has been realized as a fascinating character frequently.
Forge has a lot going on. So for people not familiar with the character,
Forge may have too many hats.
Yeah, he is, his mutant power is that he can invent everything. He also has a cybernetic leg because he's a Vietnam vet who lost a limb. Does he lose his hand too? I forget.
He lost his hand. It's his leg and his hand.
Yeah, so he has cybernetic limbs. He's also a shaman who can summon like demons from the spiritual plane.
To be clear, summoning those demons was a bad choice, and they actively say that's not what he should have done with his shamanistic abilities. He's Cheyenne. He was a pupil of Naze, and like that's the thing. You could having Forge also be the mystic Native American. Not ideal. I understand the push and pull between technology and tradition that Claremont is going for, but he's sailing in some choppy waters, and sometimes some waves do get right up on there.
I would agree. What's fascinating though is that we're going to start with Forge's first appearance, which is Uncanny X-Men 184 and 185. Is that Forge does arrive relatively fully formed. From the very first couple of pages, we see Naze like running out on Forge in his holographic, skyscraper living room. We're seeing his inventions. We're seeing what his motivations are. I mean,
we're not seeing that he is an arms dealer, which isn't ideal.
No, but this idea that there's this mutant out there that is willing to create these things for the government. It's a really smart idea. It's a very cool character.
It has a lot of potential to explore just different facets of people and going back and forth. I don't know if it gets fully realized in this. What does get fully realized in this is Forge is wearing the greatest outfit.
Oh, the first appearance outfit is just, we got to talk about John Romita's art here, John Romita Jr.'s art here, because
this is John Romita and Chris Claremont. Y'all knew it was Claremont, right?
Yeah. And we also have to point out, Dan Green is on inks. The colors by Glynis Wein in these two issues are also spectacular. There's some really, really great, pieces in here that just look spectacular because of what they're all doing. John Romita Jr. is killing it here. Describe this outfit to anyone who has not seen it.
Polo shirt, tight. Horizontal black and white sailor stripes, they're popping. His collar, additionally popping. Shorts. You think 5-inch inseams are in? I think that was a couple of summers back. But no, Forge is at like a 3, maybe a 4-inch inseam on these baby blue shorts. They look like softies. They look like there should be words on the butt that say enemy of the state. It's incredible. He's got one glove over his robot hand. He's got some really just like sharp white Adidas with some blue that really pops with the shorts. He has his robo leg, and he also has some tube socks rolled up. His hips popping. He's got his walking cane. And he's got a little pencil mustache and a bad haircut. I don't know what's with his haircut.
He's just rocking his it's not a great haircut, but
the haircut's the only thing that's a challenge about this look. Everything else is dynamite.
It's not quite like a 2000s like Caesar cut. You know what I mean? Like it could be worse.
It's
borderline.
It's close to that.
Yeah.
It's so freaking good.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So our issues begin. This story begins with Val Cooper and Raven Darkholm, aka Mystique, but not in Mystique form, going to Sea Forge about the infamous power neutralizer, which will come into effect in the next issue.
Let's be clear about why they are going to, because this gets oddly lost in here.
Oh yeah, it's all about Rom.
It's all about Rom Space Knight. This
Yep.
is about the Wraith War.
Yes.
You can read about that in the 2-part Romnabai that are coming out. Forge has to stop the Dire Wraiths, and this does have a secondary thing of it's going to depower mutants if they get hit with it, which is something that Val Cooper is interested in. Val Cooper, government agent, National Security Council, Project Wide Awake, just the worst. You know the last time Val Cooper has appeared, right, Adam?
Last was it
in like comics as of us recording this in July of 2023.
Oh, wait, like in current continuity?
Yeah, you know the last time we've seen Val Cooper?
When was the last time we saw Val Cooper? That's a good question. I don't remember.
Oh, I do. It was in the Priest series US Agent where she was sleeping with US Agent.
Oh no. Oh, Val. Come on.
Hold on. Do you think is that surprising behavior by Val Cooper?
No. Val Cooper is, if Val Cooper is not on Orcus currently, I would be surprised. You know what I mean? Like Val has made it
if Val's
very
not
clear that she is not the best ally to the mutants.
Here's the thing. I don't think Val would be on Orcus, and it's not for political reasons. It's that she does not believe. She agrees with their cause, but does not believe in their methods and feels like that they can manage this through the bureaucracy of the United States government and not through a paramilitary culty organization ran by MODOK.
Yeah,
Henry Peter Gyrick, obvious Orcus supporter, has been space vented because of it. But Val Cooper specifically wouldn't. Also because Henry Peter Gyrick, she was like, actually, I don't like that.
Well, and speaking of Gyrick,
hate each other.
When we get into 285, which I just want to note for listeners that 285 was actually one of my very first X-Men comics. And darn wasn't I confused, because what is Henry Gyrick doing at the beginning of this issue, but actually strangely recapping the stuff that happened in Dazzler and that one issue of Uncanny where they fought Rogue at the Pentagon, right? Like it's this weird Rogue stuff, flashback. Gyrick gets his hands on the power neutralizer. So when Rogue and Storm are coming to this like very emotional beat, and Storm allows
in Cowdock
Rogue,
County, Mississippi, where Rogue's talking about how she kissed Cody. They were just fooling around, necking, really.
Oh man, I do love this issue because it does have Rogue telling that story, which is later then told in a very great classic X-Men backup story that I believe Nascenti wrote. I want to say it was Nascenti, not Simonson. Anyway, Rogue, Storm allows Rogue to take her powers. Gyrick shows up, is going to try and take Rogue out because that's the whole purpose. And of course, this is how Storm loses her powers before the next issue, which is infamous Life Death.
I don't think Life Death is infamous. I think it's just famous.
Yeah, that's probably better. All right.
I don't think there's a level of infamy to Life Death.
Famous Life Death. So we're getting a lot of really great character work here. The whole first issue is also about 2/3 of it is the first Uncanny X-Men appearance of Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel has come to the present, which showed up in New Mutants originally, right at the start of Demon Bear.
Yep.
Ends up coming and trying to find people. Ends up at a club, and this guy named Nick is like, oh, she's in trouble. I'm going to take care of her. Does not end well for Nick, because do you know who shows up?
Oh, everybody's favorite energy vampire, Selene.
Sidebar. And I say this as the bad boy of X-Men podcasting.
Yeah.
It's insane that people like Selene now. Absolutely freaking bonkers to me that people like Selene. Because I don't think you like Selene as she is in the comics today, everyone except for Connor. Connor, she's a mean lady, I get it. You like the idea of Celine that came up on a podcast that was pretty funny and then on some TikToks. And I get it. It's very funny. It's just so wild to go back and read Celine's stories and be like, oh, but these suck.
I actually think Celine is pretty great here. She's just
I
basically
hate
like
Celine.
out
hate
for a
Celine.
snack. You know, she senses that there's a huge amount of energy. I think a big part of it that sells it for me, at least in this particular issue, is John Romita's art, you know, and the colors that
John
Gomez
Romita's a good
Wine adds
artist.
to it, right? That like this is really Romita Jr. like selling. He's got the expressions, you know, there's this great panel of Celine that's just like blood red and she's kind of looking up from under her eyebrows with a dastardly smile on her face. It's really great stuff. So we're getting all of that. Of course, Forge is pissed because he was like, yo, I showed you guys this and it was a prototype. It's not meant for you to go around shooting it in public.
How could Forge have known that DARPA would take his untested weapons and use them in ways that he didn't want? How in 1984 could anyone understand that it is potential that now they have become Death Destroyer of worlds?
Yeah, and it just sets up a classic Forge dynamic of Forge having invented things that he probably shouldn't have that are then going to cause lots of trouble.
Forge, like, here's the thing. Forge is very smart. He absolutely should have known better.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The second he learned as a mutant that he had created something that takes away mutant powers, he should have just destroyed it and been like, I need another 12
this
months.
This one goes on the shelf.
I need another 12 months on the dire rates thing. Can I get an extension, please?
Please, yeah. Come on, guys. Look, engineering takes time. Adam, do you know how many engineering projects I have done in my day-to-day life? How many I've been a part of? Like greater than 10. Can I tell you how many of them have launched on time?
I'm sure very few.
Goose egg.
Yeah.
There's been some where we have had legal things that they had to launch by a certain date. And what you do in that case is you just launch the bare minimum.
Right.
Your scope, either your scope shrinks or your timeline increases. Those are your two options in project management.
Yeah, so Forge had some options here, and unfortunately, Storm at the end of the day is depowered for quite a bit of time, and Forge is left to take care of her. So that's where we're going. Obviously, we've covered that story already, but I quite enjoyed these two issues.
Pretty good issues.
We should rank them on our big old list.
That's the thing about this podcast, and that's what separates us: is that we separate the wheat, we separate the chaff. We put them in two different piles, and we say, wheat, you're going to turn into bread, maybe a scone. Chaff, I don't know what you do with chaff. I think you burn it.
Okay. I'm not sure where you're going with this, because it really is all one pile, Zach.
No, you separate the wheat from the chaff, the good from the bad. We rank everything from best to worst.
We do. But it does all end up on one big list.
We've done it 801 times.
Oh my
it does, but there's a pretty distinct cutoff point of the good and the bad. And here's the unfortunate part about X-Men comics. The halfway point would be about 400 right now, right?
Yeah, probably.
I don't think the cutoff point between good and bad comics is at 400.
No.
I think the good comics stop a good chunk above that.
To be an X-Men fan.
I love X-Men so much. It's so, here's the thing, X-Men's my trash. And I love it.
Yeah, I love it. That's why we're here every week for you people.
We are. We are ranking all these comics. The first best comic is House of X Powers of 10. The 200th best comic is Battle of the Atom. That's our titular comic. The 400th best comic is Schism. The 600th is Exiles 90 to 94 Enemy of the Stars. The 800th best comic is The Draco. We thought we had gotten away from The Draco. We have not. We had to bring it up again. And the worst X-Men comic of all time at 801 is 2099 tomorrow.
Yeah. All right.
Not as good as Life Death. That's what I'm going to start with.
That's pretty high. I think
Life Death is at 39.
Yeah, I do think we're in the top 200. I think this is a really solid story.
Yes.
This for me is really classic X-Men, and it's not just the nostalgia of this being like one of my first issues.
No, this This is good stuff right here.
Yeah, this is really, really great classic, Claremont character work. It's just fantastic stuff. So I'm working my way up here, and
I'm gonna throw something out here at you.
yeah, go ahead.
How do you feel about it compared to?
Oh, I see. Viewers can't see that Zach is just slowly moving his cursor up the Excel
I'm trying to find what
spreadsheet.
I freaking had. I'm trying to find what I freaking had.
Okay. Oh, now he's gone.
Just
Move it back down.
how do you feel about it, Adam? How do you feel about it compared to number 133 on our list, Uncanny X-Men 244, Ladies' Night?
I love Ladies' Night. Obviously, that's the first appearance of Jubilee, but I think this is better than that. And I honestly would go higher than that. I think
this is better than 123 Messiah War.
Yep. I also think this is better than, this is another one that I love, is Executioner's Song at 115.
Yes.
Is it better than Fallen Angels at 106?
No.
Okay.
I was just thinking about Fallen Angels the other day. I was like, man, that book rules.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I do think this is kind of on par with, at 108, we have Uncanny 314, Early Frost. I think this is better
I think Early Frost might be better than that. And I think 108 is Early Frost, 109 is X-Men Black Emma Frost.
Mm-hmm.
I like both of those better than this.
Okay.
However, at 110 is Ben Percy X-Force Terra Verde.
Yep.
I think this is better than Terra Verde. And Terra Verde is a book with some weird plants. And you know how I feel about weird plants.
All right. So if we're in this era, in this little realm here, I would say this should be our new 109, because as much as I love Leah's and Chris Pachalo's X-Men Black, I just think this is firing on all cylinders. Like this is fantastic stuff.
Okay.
Perfect.
It's gonna be new 109.
Okay.
Here's my problem with it. It's got Celine, and I don't love Celine that much.
You don't have to like Celine.
In the Rachel stuff is really good. Like there's that good scene where she calls Scott, and then it's like, actually,
yeah,
I don't want to talk to it. John Romita kills it in that scene too.
There's such great, and it's so funny because JR gets picked on so much for, the sameness of a lot of his work now. But at that time, he just had this great way of subtly expressing facial expressions. And it's a wonder to see. So
I think Romita does too. They just keep putting him on books that have children in it, and why?
Yes,
don't do that. John Romita's never been good at drawing children.
I would argue that during Daredevil, he had a certain way of doing it that actually worked, but it's gotten progressively more terrible as the years have gone on. So where are we going next? We're sticking in the 80s here, but we're changing books. What is this next issue, Zach?
Oh, this next issue is an issue of a book called New Mutants. It's New Mutants 65 to 66. Here's the thing about this. Do you remember the event Fall of the Mutants?
Yes, I do.
Well, in that, some mutants fell.
Yep, it's true.
The New Mutants had to deal with Doug Ramsey falling.
Mm-hmm.
To a permanent end.
Yeah, he's dead.
He ain't dead. Doug dead. All of the X-Men had to deal with all of them dying and falling in such a way, including Colossus, which his angry sister, who I love, Illyana Rasputin.
Yep.
Not thrilled.
No.
Not thrilled about this event. And specifically, not thrilled at Forge.
Yep, for very, very good reasons. So as the NPR...
Well, I mean, she's wrong, but I get it.
She's wrong, but if you were just doing what she's doing, which is watching it on NPR TV, with the amazing
a thing that exists
coverage of Neil Conan and Manoli Weatherall.
Rest in peace, Chris Claremont's ex-girlfriend, Manoli Weatherall. Is Manoli still alive? Probably.
I think so. I do think so, but I could be mistaken, But so we have Louis Simonson and Brett Blevins telling this story. Terry Austin.
Oh, this is Manoli Weatherall's LinkedIn page.
Oh, hey.
She hasn't posted lately.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Oh, she was... Hold on, I just want you to know this. Do you know how long Manoli Weatherall worked at the National Public Radio?
Is it a very short period of time?
No, it's like 40 years.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's what I would assume.
It was 39 years.
Wow. That's a career. That's a real career.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm sorry. Sorry for
You're distracted by this LinkedIn account. So because Magik is so pissed off, she wants the headmaster, Magneto, obviously, who's been doing increasingly more villainous stuff with the Hellfire Club, to obviously let the team go to Dallas and confront Forge. Magneto's like, dude, you grounded. One of you just died. Just go to your rooms.
Guys,
And
you
how many
literally
times can
disobeyed me and got one of you murdered. The
Right.
weakest one, the worst one of you got murdered. The most likely to be murdered did get murdered.
Yes.
Now I got to deal with that.
So he's not wrong, but at the same time, when has Magneto grounding the New Mutants ever worked? It never does. They basically always go for their graduation costumes and head out onto the town, and that's exactly
How many of
what
the
they do here.
graduation costumes look good?
None. I mean, Birdo's isn't terrible. His is basically just a Zorro mask and a bodysuit.
I don't hate Magik's.
No,
I don't like it, but I
yeah.
don't hate it. Like, I think you could do like that red jacket as a good look. I just don't think it would fit Magik of today.
Yeah. No, it works. It works with Blevins here.
Yeah, this is Brett Blevins and Weezy Simonson, by the way.
Right. So after a quick vignette where Magik goes and comforts Kitty on Muir Island, they basically do exactly what she said she was going to do. They transport through limbo. They end up, right in the fallout of the Fall of the Mutants event. Destiny is there, maskless, terrified, and Forge is like, all right, let's fight.
We doing this? Let's do it.
There's just a little problem. We have another team on the spot, and the New Mutants have to deal with Freedom Force.
Freedom Force. The best part of the Freedom Force, bar none, is the part where Destiny is hanging out and Spiral is fighting, and Destiny warns some people about something and doesn't warn Spiral, and a wall falls on Spiral. And Destiny explicitly says, I just don't like her.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Destiny, why didn't you do anything? I do not like that woman.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So
Irene, love this.
Yeah, Destiny is having visions of the Inferno event. So she's properly freaked out.
This is important to the Inferno event because for Magik to go fight Forge, she takes the Soul Sword out of Limbo where it was holding back the techno-organic virus. And Sim is like, well, this is a freebie for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my demon robot army even bigger.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose, kid.
So the second issue, 66, is basically Magik versus Forge. Forge is using all
of the new mutants saying, I don't really think we agree with Ileana on any of this, but I'm not going to be the one to stop her.
Yes. The other thing is that as Magik is attacking Forge and getting into this big fight, the New Mutants are slowly being wrapped up in this living vine that is eventually going to suffocate and kill them. So it's a test of Magik's ability to, empathize and remember her humanity and her friends while she's trying to exact this revenge, which is very misguided. And is she indeed the Dark Child, which appears to her at one point, or is she the friend to her friends? And she does eventually, instead of taking off Forge's head, she frees her friends. And so,
Forge is interesting in this, I feel, because Forge is like, you're wrong, Ileana. That's not what, I don't know you, but you misunderstand what's happening. And at the same point, he's like, okay, but I get why you're mad. And like, if we're going to do this, let's do this. But he's both like, he understands her, even if he's confused about the situation.
Yeah. I also think that this issue is a great example of what we were talking about before, about Forge just having a lot going on, right? Like in Forge's initial appearances, he is this, techno genius. But here, he's basically just a dude in like ripped jeans with like a shamanistic, invisible, mystical armor that he's using.
He's in deep shaman mode right now.
Yeah, he's Magic Man. And so it's just interesting. Like it's still the same character, Don't get me wrong, but it just demonstrates like how much possibility this character has. There's a lot going on with this dude.
There is too much going on with Ford.
Yeah. Then, of course, the 2 issues does end with the first appearance of everybody's favorite New Mutant, Gossamer.
I'm not talking about Gossamer. You know, we've gone so many freaking years without doing the Gossamer stuff. I don't want to do the Gossamer stuff.
Listeners, if there's one of you out there that's a big Gossamer fan,
I'll do it for $5.
We'll obviously do it for you, but I invite you to check out some other stories because we don't need to talk about that one.
Here's the thing, guys. I'm just gonna be. I want to be frank with you. What do you want us to pair with Gossamer? What is the episode that you want us to do involving Gossamer? Is it like worst X-Men characters that people don't care about? Because it's like, let's do Gossamer.
We already did
Gaia.
Bird Brain.
We already did Bird Brain. So you got Gossamer, you got Gaia. Who else is like the completely forgotten, we don't want you on our team characters?
See, now we're just challenging people. You know, someone's thinking about this in
we
their car.
are challenging people. Now we are challenging people. Yeah. And I just told people we should read about Gaia, and I don't want to do that either. Lethal Larry Hama is fantastic. I don't care for his Generation X.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm for the most part enjoying. I'm Blevins has grown on me a great deal over the years. I think he's exceptionally talented, and I think that it generally he's doing a great job here. This is also that era where the New Mutants do appear to kind of be de-aged a little bit. So
it's Slipstream, by the way, and I had to think of it. It's Slipstream's the other one.
Oh, okay.
Because like Thunderbird 3's around for a bit more. Slipstream's like the worst of his siblings. Anyway, continue. Yes.
Oh, I was just complimenting Brett Blevins. I do think it's a little bit weird when you see Ileana undressing in front of her team members because they've de-aged the character. Like it just visually, it looks like an even younger character than she has been.
What's weird about it is that's the panel, because it's not drawn in like a sexualized way or anything.
No,
it's drawn as she is changing.
Right. But also, we don't need to see it necessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The question that comes up is, why was that what you ended up drawing anyway?
For the answer
we didn't
to that,
have to do that.
For the answer to that, you might want to just see what other kinds of things Brett Blevins likes to draw. Follow him on Instagram. But
I have not. But you're scaring me.
No. I'm not saying it's bad. He likes to draw things that are like a little sexy, you know what I mean? Like that's just something he likes to draw. So it's weird though, obviously, because of who the character is and the age of the character. So it's a minor detour in that one moment, but all in all, I enjoyed this quite a bit, and I think it's a really good epilogue to what we saw in Fall of the Mutants. Do I think it's as good as the other stuff we just were reading in Uncanny? No,
it is not.
But did I enjoy it? I did enjoy it quite a bit.
Where is the issue where Ileana fights with Colossus's ghost, but it's not really his ghost, it's just him?
Oh, yeah.
Because I believe when we ranked that, I thought we were ranking this story.
Oh, okay.
Like when I said, let's read that one.
That is, hold on a sec. Okay, that is at 248 on our list, and that is Uncanny X-Men.
This is better than that.
231.
Colossus pretends to be a ghost.
We named it
the way we remember.
Yeah, I do think this is probably, so that's a 248. This is probably a top 250 story. But I don't know how high I would go, despite enjoying this quite a bit.
At 196 is Jean Grey 8-11 Psych Wars.
Yeah.
I think Psych Wars is better.
I would agree. I think Battle of the Atom is better than this at 201. But this is probably better than the Pregnant Brood arc of Wolverine and the X-Men at 205.
Is this better than the Quest for Magik with Scotty Young art at 213?
I would say yes. I think that this is better than that new X-Men arc.
Let's put it above that, but below that. Actually, no, let's put it above that issue of Uncanny about Morph.
Okay, so this is going to be our new 204, right below Uncanny X-Men 97 and above Uncanny X-Men Volume 3, number 14.
For those of you playing along at home.
Yes. Well, just, so people know what we're comparing it to.
So they know what we're doing.
Yeah. So we've stuck mainly to 80s Forge for the first part of the show, but for our third story, we are going fast forwarding to the present.
Yeah, we're talking about X-Men Volume 6, 15 through 17 by Jerry Duggan and Joshua Cassara.
Love that Josh Cassara. Holy moly. Did you see the enamel pins that he made for San Diego Comic-Con?
I did. They look great.
They're so much fun. So for listeners who haven't seen these, go to Josh's Instagram or his Twitter. He made a series of, I think it's 6 different enamel pins, and one of them is just a really happy Wolverine. It says this great smile on his face. It's so funny.
I love Cassara's art. I would say that one criticism that I have had of the Krakoa era books is that I don't think there are standout artists outside of your Pepe Larraz's, your RB Silvas. I think Linneo Yu really showed up when he was doing it. And I think Valerio Schiti on Sword especially pumped it to the next level.
Sure.
I think Josh Cassara is in that conversation, which is fairly surprising because before this, he was not an A-list artist by any means. He was not up there in like Marvel's next big thing. It was, they started seeing what he was doing on X-Force and said, oh,
right,
this guy's next level.
Yeah. Especially when you start to see what he was doing in X-Force. It is mind blowing.
I love that I somehow have 2 pieces from Josh Cassara, one of which is a Scrabble scorecard that he was doing with him and his wife. And hold on, I need to check this real quick. Yeah, I want to be clear that in this game of Scrabble that I have memorialized in my wall, Josh Cassara's wife freaking killed him.
Well, that's because he was drawing Fred Dukes.
Like a 90-point victory over him.
Yes. Josh is busy drawing on his scorecard. He's not worried about it.
It's in terms, like you call it's ballpoint pen. So, like shading's not all there. But in terms of a ballpoint pen drawing, holy crap, it's really good.
Yeah. So I do think it was an interesting pick to move Josh over to X-Men as, X-Men, when it launched for the first year, you had Pepe doing most of the issues, is supposed to be kind of like the flagship of the X-Men line, right? It's the superhero book, it's the adventure, whatever. So when they made that call to move him off X-Force, I was surprised only because his artwork is very much, I think the thing that works best is when he is doing organic things, because he does such really cool stuff with vines and plants and trees and foliage. And when I actually got into this arc, which we're going to talk about, which is issues 15 to 17, it allows him to use what he's already got going on in those areas, but he also gets to flex his muscles in some new ways. And I continue to have newfound respect for his style. It's really impressive.
I think that Cassara is great in this. I do think that it is an odd choice for this book, only in so much as he doesn't look like Stuart Immonen is his largest influence.
Well, that's what's interesting is that they've chosen...
Which is what every other Marvel book that is of any significance has.
Right. So
either that or John Romita Jr. still drawing Spider-Man like he was 40 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And we were just talking about this last episode, our desire for, artists that look unique. And I think Josh's does. So I think it's really cool. That
Josh's he's stepping up. And this is a great arc to step up in because it's about the Children of the Vault. And I want to set the record straight. We were on the Children of the Vault train long before any of this was going on.
You can go back and listen to that episode.
You want to know, this is a real story, Adam. The thing that kicked off the Xavier Files, aka Zack writing about a different X-Men character every week kind of bit.
Mm-hmm.
The precursor to that was a X-Men book club on Reddit that
I love it.
No joke. That it was me and our friend Tom and some other people. I don't know. I just remember me and Tom. First book was Giant Size X-Men. Second book was Supernovas.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So if you want to know how far back I've been like championing these guys, it's before I did any of this stuff. So the fact that Jonathan Hickman said, actually, they rule and we should use them, and then everyone agreed.
Yeah.
Music to my ears.
And it makes perfect sense that he would latch on to a concept like this. You know, it fits, it checks a lot of the boxes of things that Hickman really enjoys. And it fits in perfectly with this idea that, you know, there's a long-term, centuries-long quest for, you know, to become Dominion, right? And that the Children of the Vault would be part of that puzzle. So we've
also
already
that they were designed by Chris Batchelor.
yeah, added bonus, right? So we have seen these characters under Hickman's pen, right? Because several of the characters, Lara, Sink, and Darwin, spent thousands of years essentially like inside the vault on a recon mission, and Sink was the only one to come out. So that's where we're picking up here, is that Forge has developed essentially, and I swear to God, when I did the page turn, I thought it was the world.
It's
kind of like the world
of it.
Yeah.
It is very explicitly trying to make that visual motif appear here.
Yeah.
This is the world from, you know, Phantom X stuff.
Right. But
well, you say that that's his plan. What's neat is in the first issue of this, issue 16, it's like 50% a flashback to Forge trying something else and like in his mind saying, I could try this and it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm trying this.
Yeah, the first third of, I think it's 15, is basically
It's
Children of the Vault, like, kill the Marvel Universe. And it's a lot of fun, you know?
Forge tries to use a gun and it doesn't work. So instead, he uses a big time bubble.
Yeah. So he's essentially allowed some of the children to come out, but he's put them basically in Matrix pods so that they think they are conquering the entire galaxy, even though they're all in little, you know, capsules. This is allowing Forge to do some recon of himself because he wants to know what happened to Darwin, because Darwin did not come out. Forge has some ulterior motives, I think, and he's doing some very ethically dubious, borderline beast-like things, including wearing Caliban as a suit.
Okay, hold on. Forge asked.
No, he didn't.
If he could.
No, he didn't.
Forge asked eventually because he knew Caliban would say yes.
Forge asked after it happened. So we are given the impression that Caliban
doesn't know that.
No, but he is lying to Caliban. He is ethically in the wrong. He has done something terrible and warned.
Forge has never done anything wrong in his entire life. I don't know what you're talking about, Adam.
He's also slipped in some mystique so that he can shape change into Children of the Vault visuals. It's pretty fun how Forge is
also
skirting...
tempo so he can deal with time stuff, but yeah.
Yes, he's not going to age up while he's in there. So we're getting that happening on the inside as that Forge is exploring the vault.
Hey, can we talk about the Caliban suit for a second? That's buck wild stuff that he's doing, is making a suit out of Caliban.
I want to talk about this because Duggan's X-Men has been a very strange book. It was designed essentially to be the X-Men are back in America. They're in New York. They're a superhero team. And yet the stories that the book has told have been all over the place, right?
I have a theory about this specifically.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is one of the challenges I have with this book writ large. And it's a thing that can sometimes work well, as in this arc.
Yep.
These 3 issues, it works well. In other arcs, it doesn't. This is a book where you have 12 issues a year with a team.
Yep.
At least for the first 2, it's 12 issues. To do a team, get everybody on the 7-person team something to do and to drive them forward. and push forward the overall Orcus plot that is really been stemming from this book. It's a lot.
Yeah, it really
which
is.
means that characters kind of get like an issue or
Uh-huh.
two of focus period before they get shuffled off into the background.
Mhm.
Because this is really an arc for Forge. There is some stuff with Havoc in here and Cyclops that I think is underbaked comparatively.
I agree. So for our listeners,
But the Forge stuff is great.
yeah, Havoc is still pissed because he doesn't think, he believes that he was put on the X-Men like as
As a bit.
right, to piss off Cyclops. They get into a fight, and it unfortunately unleashes one of the children from the vault, who they have to put back into his little Matrix pod.
Can we pause right here about Havoc? Because there's one thing we have to discuss.
His headpiece?
How Josh Cassara is explicitly trying to see how big he can get the headpiece every time he draws it, to the point where it is comical.
Yes.
And I both appreciate that as like also someone who likes to do bits. I can say that as an artistic choice, it goes to the level of, okay, well, I see what you're doing, and now I'm kind of annoyed with it.
It's really wild. It's almost as if Havoc and Wolverine meltdown Wolverine hair is like transferred into Havoc's hat.
It's extensive.
Yes.
How much he stretches this hat.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Then at one point it's like swooping back and it's a weird thing. Otherwise, I think he draws Havoc's powers really cool too.
I would agree. Hey, he is having a blast drawing this stuff. And I do think, I was talking about how well he draws like organic matter. I think this also allows him to do more of the technological stuff. The inside of the vault looks very much like almost like Blade Runner-y. We get this very interesting setup where one of the children, Serafina, allows Forge to be noticed and she walks away, which I think is a very interesting character development, story development. And then, of course, what does Forge find? He does interact with Darwin while he's inside, and we can kind of argue about how that works out. But he also realizes that Laura is still in there.
So the other big thing that happens is you find out that when Forge comes back and he gets Cerebro scanned, there's a lot more Forge there.
That's right.
And then there's not a lot more Forge there. Then there's normal amounts of Forge in his brain.
Right. So who hitchhiked out with Forge is a really interesting question.
So I'm going to say something here. And I think, Adam, you and I talked about this off air last week. And I'm going to say this now. And folks, if you're listening to this anytime that's not Monday, Tuesday when this comes out, I will either be proven right or wrong. But I want to be clear. I'm doing a cold shot here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Here's my cold shot.
Okay.
And I can't take full credit for this. Connor Goldsmith and I kind of came up with it back and forth. We know that there is somebody on the X-Men who is compromised.
Yes, that
there
is
is some sort of traitor.
Destiny revealed that in a recent issue.
My overall arcing theory is that we are going to be led to believe that it is this fake Laura, also known as Talon, or this copy of Laura, because she's untrustworthy and this weird lady that came back from the vault and seems odd. And also, we can't have two of her running around, and we're going to keep the young one. Let's call a spade a spade. We're going to be led to believe that she's the traitor. And then we're going to have the rug pulled out from us and have it be Forge, who has been compromised by either Darwin or the children. Something's in him from this trip to the vault that has caused issues and will lead to the fall of X and be the big emotional stakes of the Hellfire Gala of we lost somebody. Because here's the thing, Sync is still going to be in the book 100%. So to have him like, oh no, now I lost my girlfriend again. It'll continue his whole journey.
Whether you're right or wrong, I think your conclusions make sense because we know that Serafina has also worked with Orcus. So it makes sense for her to, be trying to manipulate Forge in this way. And
also, we have a Children of the Atom book coming from freaking Denzi Camp.
Yeah. Yeah. So
literally could not. The only reason that it is not the book I'm the most excited about is because the other writer who's coming in that I really like, Steve Fox, has a book where Magik is on the cover of the second issue. And y'all, I am who I am.
Yeah, that's the Dark X-Men book, right?
That's Dark X-Men.
Yeah.
And Steve Fox is very good at doing horror stuff and creepy stuff. He was a contributor and editor of Razor Blades from the Pando.
Yeah.
So,
So
listen,
lots
I like
of
Steve.
fun stuff. If you are eager to kind of go back and look for little tidbits, this is a great arc to do it. And I would say that the art here, in subsequent issues, we've been over the moon about Josh's artwork. I think that you can sometimes see the time constraints on Josh's work
Yes.
just because it's a monthly book, and but here he's firing on all cylinders. These pages look absolutely gorgeous. And, I loved this. I loved the first time that they went in to the vault, and I loved this follow-up. I just think it's so much fun. And I think it's some of the best stuff that Jerry has done with the book so far.
Yep. I think it's great. I'm excited to see how this plays out. And I'm excited that there's more Children of the Atom stuff going. And I'll be honest, folks, this is not a indictment on other books. This is a me thing. I don't get excited about that many comics right now. So I'm glad that there are things that get me excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like this better than the New Mutants book that we just talked about at 204. And
Yes.
I think this is a top 200 book.
I do too. This is not as good as Marauders at 113.
113. Yeah, I would agree.
That's the Duggan Marauders stuff.
Yeah.
The whole big Captain Kate.
Yeah, so that takes into account the entire first year and issue 16 of Marauders. And I would agree. I do think that he's trying some vastly different stuff here, but like you said, some of the character stuff with Cyclops and Havoc doesn't work as well.
If there's one thing that I don't think that Duggan has particularly done well in this second year of X-Men, it is properly developing the conflicts, specifically the interpersonal conflicts with Scott that people are having.
People are angry at Scott.
I have not. People are, listen, kind of. We're not going to do Brood discourse because I don't care about that arc in general, but I can appreciate why people are mad at Scott Summers, especially people who may have eaten planets before.
Sure. At 120, we have...
go ahead.
I was going to say, at 120, we have Empire X-Men, and as fun as that is, I think these 3 issues are better.
Really? I think Empire X-Men's better, and I even think 135 Giant Size X-Men by Hickman is better.
Oh, I'm not the biggest Giant Size X-Men Hickman fan.
Okay, but that book is so pretty. Here, okay.
So is this.
I think what we're saying, Adam, is that we found a good range.
Yes.
This isn't better than Blood Hungry at 132.
Peter David, Sam Keith, Blood Hungry with Cypher.
He's got that Sam Keith. Buddy.
All right. I think that's a good place for it on the list then. So we're saying that the 2 books below that are the first arc, the Nimrod arc of New X-Men. Ooh, that's a good comparison. That's a really good comparison because Forge is in that one.
That's got that. It does. That's got that Paco Medina.
Yeah. We're in a good spot here.
That one's pretty good.
You know what I would actually do? Would this seem crazy to me? I would slot this in between Ladies' Night and Giant Size X-Men.
As our new 135?
That's what I would do.
So it is written, so it shall be.
All right. So this is our new 135. Man, I was talking to Anna about this the other day, that we often are...
Anna Picard, host of Gosh Golly Wow.
Yep. We were having this conversation that constantly over many, many episodes, we're always putting things low on this list. So it was nice this week to put stuff in the top 200. That felt really nice.
Well, that's the thing. We like talking about good comics.
We do.
Folks, we enjoy the good comics. It's just that X-Men comics are often bad.
It's okay. But thank you, Robert.
There's no 2 ways around it. A lot of them are bad.
Yeah. But Robert picked some good ones this week.
Robert, thank you so much. If you want to be like Robert, do the thing. Adam, what do you got going on?
Folks can always follow me on, Instagram, adam.rec, Twitter, Arthur Stacy, and I'm on Blue Sky now at Adam Rec. So check that out if you've got your Blue Sky invite. Other than that is That's it. And don't try and find Zack anywhere. And what are we doing next
I'll
week,
be in
Zack?
my new chair.
Oh, right.
I'll be in my new chair.
Yeah, but we don't want
if you
people
want to find me.
No, we don't want people to find you in your new chair, Zack.
Anyway, this is my chair, and I'm going to be in this, and you're going to be listening to this podcast, and it's going to be a great time because next week, Adam, do you know what we're going to talk about?
We are talking about Hellions next week. Is that right?
Yeah, we're talking about the Hellions.
Nice.
Bud, great news. There's some good comics coming next week, too.
We got good stuff coming up.
We kind of got a grip of good comics coming up soon.
Yeah. So folks, stay tuned. Next couple of weeks, going to be great.
Oh, and then there's some insane ones also. So we're mixing it up and hurting ourselves in the process. But until then, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom. We hope you survived the experience.
Get it!